الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاح حي على الصلاح حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
Assalamu alaikum. I thank you for tuning in to A Message to the Oppressed. Tonight's topic is why Allah revealed the Quran in Arabic. My guest is Sheikh Muhammad Sharif, the scholar and author. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alhamdulillah, all praise be to Allah for your being here. And by the grace and mercy of Allah, from your studies of the Quran and Hadith, why did Allah reveal the Quran in Arabic?
There are many reasons. The reasons comes from the revelation of Quran, but it also comes from the Hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. But also there are logical and reasonable reasons as well. First off, there's the verse from the Quran when Allah Ta'ala says, وَكَذَلِكَ أَنزَلْنَاهُ حُكْمًا عَرَبِيًّا. Likewise have we revealed this Quran as a decisive Arabic text. And the word hukman means to be able to judge. لِتَحْكُمُ بِهِ بَيْنَ النَّاسِ. In order to judge with the Quran between people. In order to judge between people, you have to be exact in your judgment, because judgment requires justice and equity. And anything that's equitable means it must be mathematically sound. Therefore, one of the reasons that Allah Ta'ala revealed the Quran as a hukman and as an Arabic hukman is that the Arabic language is a language which is exact in its judgment. We're going to get to that later on. The second verse which Allah looks at is when Allah Ta'ala says, وَكَذَلِكَ أَنزَلْنَهُ قُرْآنًا عَرَبِيًّا وَصَرَفْنَا فِيهِ مِنَ الْوَعِيدِ لَعَلَّهُمْ يَتَّقُونَ. Allah Ta'ala says in His Quran, and likewise we have revealed it, meaning the Quran, as a Arabic Quran, and we have placed within it every type of admonition, because all the admonition of all the earlier communities, from the earliest prophets, from the first prophet Adam all the way up into the last prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and the judgment of Isa, and all the prophets in between are in it. So sarafna fihi min al-wa'id. We have placed in it all types of admonitions and sermons. La'allahum yattaqun. And the reason that is so that the people can have fearful awareness of Allah. And the Arabic language has that ability. The word Arabiya, or Arabic, actually means to carry something. So the reason why Allah chose the Arabic language to reveal, to reveal His last message, because the Arabic language has the ability to carry a message with it, and because He wanted that message to be carried to the whole of humanity. No other language has that capacity. Again, another verse where Allah Ta'ala says, وَقُرْآنًا عَرَبِيًّا غَيْرُ ذِي الْأَوَجٍ لَعَلَّهُمْ يَتَّقُونَ. And we have made it an Arabic Quran, غَيْرُ ذِي أَوَجٍ, that it has no crookedness in it. It had to be in a language which could not be used in a deceptive way, that you could not you could not hide in allegorical meanings. In other words, it had to be a book that was so exact in its linguistic nature, in its grammatical nature, and the structure of the language had to be so exact that no crooked can come in it from before it or from behind it or from any direction. The purpose of that, لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ يَتَّقُونَ, so that you may be fearfully aware of Allah Ta'ala. Again, going back to the purpose of revealing the Quran. Finally, yes, and then Allah Ta'ala said, deal with that verse finally, وَكَذَلِكَ أَوْحَيْنَا إِلَيْكَ قُرْآنًا عَرَبِيًّا لِتَنذِرُوا الْقُرَى وَمَنْ حَوْلَهَا. He said here, and likewise have we revealed this Quran to you, O Muhammad, as an Arabic recitation, so that you may be a warning to the mother of the villages. And villages, of course, is Mecca, which is the navel of the world. It's the first place that Adam, when he landed in India, he first settled in Mecca. He met his wife in Mecca, there at Arafat. And so Arafat is the mother of the villages. It's where all the prophets have gone to. Abraham, Isa, all the prophets have traveled and journeyed to make pilgrimage to this here center of the world, which is Mecca. so that you may warn them in every place around it, meaning because if this the navel, if Mecca is the navel of the world, and even today, even in modern terminology, when you say the Mecca of so-and-so, you mean the center of something. Mecca is the center of the world. And he says, وَمَا حَوْلَهُ وَمَنْ حَوْلُهَا, and those around it. That means the entire world which spans around Mecca. And because the Quran is no doubt, because it comes to Mecca, it is no doubt that the world received this Arabic Quran. And finally, another ultimate reason for the revealing of this here language as revealing it in the Quran or in the Arabic language is because, number one, when you look here at the Arabic numerals, what is known as the Arabic numerals, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 0, these are Arabic numerals. The entire world uses them. Arabic numerals, which derives from the Quranic language, is the foundation of technology. All technology, whether we're dealing with computer technology, whatever technology the world is using, and regardless of what ethnic group it is or what nation it is, the whole world has to use Arabic numerals for its technology. So if the world is using Arabic numerals as binary numbers, 1 and 0, for the foundation, anything you type in a computer, you may type an A, but that A is actually 0001. That's what you actually type, and you're actually typing two numbers, a 1 and a 0. So this 1 and 0 are Arabic numerals. It is the foundation of the world's technology. Even the world itself has to use the exactitude of the Quran, the Quranic language, to even all the technology that we're enjoying today. So the foundation of what the world is enjoying is basics is also the Quran. So also we see the wisdom in why Allah Ta'ala used the Quran. But in terms of intellectually, when you talk about what was the result of the U language, here we can go to a program which we've developed here just for the audience here, and we should have this behind us. We want to just talk about how the Arabic manuscripts and the Arabic works were the foundation of most of we see in the Arabic in the afternoon. What is behind the technology, what is behind the advancements of Europe came from the Arabic language. And that Arabic language reached its height in the African continent. This is a lecture we have here more valuable than any other commodity, Arabic manuscript libraries and their role in Islamic revival in Bilad al-Sudan. That if you look to the left there, that major manuscript to the left there, it shows the original letter of Prophet Muhammad to the Ethiopian king. This letter arrived in the African continent in the early days of Prophet Muhammad's mission. And as a result of these Arabic manuscripts that arrived there, the African continent gave birth to a plethora, just a whole history, some 1,400 years of literacy based upon the Arabic language. Most of the literary languages in the day were written in Arabic language. Like, for example, Persian was written in Arabic. Turkish was written in Arabic. Spanish was written in Arabic. All of the intellectual languages which was used in Europe during the Golden Age, during the Renaissance, were, most of their writings had been taken from the Arabic languages. In other words, the Latin books were actually books which were rewritten in Arabic. So the Europeans had to read Arabic in order to even have access to their earlier writings as well, like Aristotle and Plato. Even the languages of Africa, like Kiswahili, it was written in Arabic. 60% of its words are in the Arabic language, or Arabic words. Ujama, which means unity and solidarity, comes from the Arabic word ishtema. Uhuru, which means freedom, comes from the Arabic word huriya. When you cross over the globe from East Africa and go into West Africa, mostly all of the literary language was written in Arabic. Fulfulde, Hausa, Kanimbo, the language of Mandinka, Wolof, Serer, all of the major literary language. We're talking about languages which are used today in radio or TV or even in newspapers, at one time were written in the Arabic script before they were written even in their own script. So Arabic has a way of raising up a language. Like, for example, Spanish language. Once the Spanish language was written in Arabic text, that's what gave Spanish its high literary quality. Wherever Arabic touch a language, it raises it up, precisely because of the exactitude of the language, because it's so exact that it's mathematical, in fact. In other words, the very language that we use in mathematics is the Arabic, the Quranic language. To also show that here, we want to look at some of the statements that talks about the level, how far Arabic reached among the Africans. There's a brother by the name of Hassan al-Wazan, a Zayati known as Leo Africanus. He said in his description of Africa, describing the value that books had among the Muslims of Bilad al-Sudan, he said, وَيُبَيُّ هَذَا الْكَثِيرُ مِنَ الْكُتُبِ الْمَقْطُوطَاتِ التي تأتي من بلاد البربر وينجي من هذا البيع ربع يفوق كل بقية السلئي. He says, here many manuscript books are sold which come from the lands of the Berber. This trade fetches profits that outrival those of all other commodities. In other words, that the highest commodity in West Africa during the height of the golden age of Islamic government in West Africa were books. It wasn't weapons, it wasn't gold, it wasn't silver, even though most of the gold and silver that was reaching Europe and the Arab world at that time was coming from the African continent. But the thing that we valued most were Arabic books, which let you know what was our gross national product, the thing that we valued. And everyone, as we're going to show you, was competing for that. In the Tariq Sudan, the Tariq Fatash by Mahmoud Kati, he describes the value that Askia Dawood, who was one of the rulers, placed upon Arabic manuscripts and libraries, when he said, كان أسكية داوود سلطانا محيبا فصيحا خليقا لرياسة كريما جوادا مبسوطا فرحا ذا مزاح وصي الله عليه في دنياه وهو أول من أتخذ خزائن المال حتى خزائن الكتب وله نساق ينسخون له كتبا وربما يهادي العلماء. It translates as Askia Dawood was a venerable ruler, eloquent in speech and naturally disposed towards leadership. He was generous and open-handed as well as cheerful, jovial, and good-humored. Allah enriched him in his worldly affairs. He was the first to establish the public treasurer in West Africa and even the first to found public libraries. He hired scribes who transcribed many books for him, sometimes giving these as gifts to the scholars. Again, we're seeing that even the leadership in West Africa was concerned with Arabic text. So we see how Allah Ta'ala revealed the Quran because of its exact language. But then we can see the role that Arabic language had even in nation building in the West African continent. Again, we have universities like the University of Sankore, where learning and great learning and erudition was established. This particular university was established by an African woman. A woman who was a Mandinka. Her family were gold traders. They were the ones who were called the Wangara or Jula, and they were responsible for taking the gold from the Akan regions, even as far through the deserts up into Egypt and to Morocco and Tripoli, as well as even Europe. Well, of course, she was a very wealthy woman. She inherited a lot of wealth from her family. That wealth that she inherited, she then founded the Sankore University Masjid, which was the center for Islamic erudition, as well as literary traditions throughout the whole of West Africa. Even in the 15th century, they were saying they were doing cataract surgery there in the quarter, what is known as the Sankore quarter of this area as well. Again, this is the letter. This letter here is the original letter of Prophet Muhammad to the Ethiopian king. We call this the original message to the black man. It predated Elijah Muhammad, Farad Muhammad. And in that letter, we see that Prophet Muhammad ﷺ is basically giving a mandate to African people. It's a mandate for government. It's a mandate that they have the rights for self-determination, nor are the African people to be subsumed under Arab or Pakistani or Indian hegemony. That the Africans themselves, because they were the first unitary state to support Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, Prophet Muhammad ﷺ then gave them a mandate for self-determination. And you found throughout the full history of the 1400 years of history, especially in West Africa, the desire for self-determination by African Muslims. Never in the history of West Africa, except perhaps in 1591, when the Moroccans invaded Songhai. Prior to that and after that, Islam was an African hegemony. In other words, it was under African government, but it was also the gift of Prophet Muhammad to the African people. And we also noted to the right of the page there, the actual Quran, original Quran, which was commissioned by Uthman ibn Affan. So we have both these, even these styles of handwriting only exist in the African continent today. No one writes this way today on a normal basis except from the Sudan all the way to Senegal. They write in this style, which today is called the Kufic style or Ifriqiya. Some call it the Andalusian style. But it's the Africans themselves who have developed this style called Ajami or Sudanic script as well. Sultan Muhammad Bello, he also describes the care that the people of Kanem Borno gave to the science of the Quran. In his Infaq al-Maysur, where he said, Fi Tariq al-Bilad al-Takrur, and that book translate called Infaq al-Maysur, Fi Tariq al-Bilad al-Takrur, which means easy deposition concerning the history of the lands of West Africa. And in it he says, وَقَدْ انْتَشَرَ فِيهَا الْإِسْلَامِ إِتِّشَارًا بَيْنَ سُلَاطِينِهِمْ وَوُزُرَائِهِمْ وَعَامَاتِهِمْ بَلْ لَا يُوجد فِي هَذِهِ بِلَادٍ عَامَةً إِلَّا معتنون بقراءة القرآن وتجويده وحفظه وكتابته منهم ولم تزال عامة هذا حتى قام هذا الجهاد. He said here, Islam spread among them extensively, even among the rulers. His attendants and his common subjects all were concerned with studying the Quran. Rather, you could not find in his country a single common person except that he was concerned with the reading of the Quran, melodiously reciting it and memorizing it and writing it down. And here you have an example of the style of calligraphy that they wrote there. If you zoom in on that, that's actually my handwriting. But that style of handwriting is the style of handwriting which is the style called the style of Kanem Borno and Maiduguri, and their Qurans are known throughout the Muslim world. In fact, it is the only place from Africa that Qurans outside of Africa is accepted, from Kanem Borno, from the area of Maiduguri. And their style of writing is extremely, if you look at it, zoom in on it, it's an African style of writing. They're using African colors, the symbols as well, and it's a style of writing. Again, that style of writing is a recognition, and also not only a recognition, but it is a continuation of that original Arabic manuscript that arrived in Africa during the time of the Prophet ﷺ. Again, among the scholarly reformers we have in Kanem Borno in their writings, we have men like, for example, Muhammad ibn al-HAJJ Ajarum and his famous Shurb al-Zalal, which I received from this scholar here, Bello Abdul Razik. He's telling you his lineage here. No. Let me go back there. Now, that manuscript you're looking at is a manuscript by a famous scholar named Muhammad ibn al-Hajj al-Ajrum. And it was a book called Shurb al-Zalal, which dealt as a poem on what is just and what is unjust in business practices, because he saw that the people of Kanem Borno were guilty of business practices which were unethical and inequitable. And so he then wrote a poem which is extremely famous, studied throughout the schools of West Africa as well. I found this Arabic manuscript way in the Blue Nile, showing you how far that Blue Nile is. You're talking about a distance between, for example, California and almost New York, where a manuscript was taken from one part of the African continent all the way to another part, letting you know the extensive the study that these reform scholars had in West Africa. Again, among the scholarly reformers of Kanem Borno and their writings was another manuscript on Tawheed and ethics by Sheikh Suleiman ibn al-Wali. And you can see here where, and this manuscript dealt with theology. It's a versification of the science of theology. And we can see also where the scholars also, this scholar by the name of Muhammad al-Tahir al-Boyi in Sokoto still teaches this same manuscript in Sokoto today, as you can see there.
SubhanAllah. Alhamdulillah.
He first teaches the manuscript first in the language of Arabic, then he translates it into Hausa or Fulbe, whoever his teacher, whoever his students are, as you can see there.
Alhamdulillah.
No. So we see clearly that Islamic education and Islamic erudition had profound effect upon the African continent, and it went far. It was extremely extensive. There were also scholarly reformers there as well, where texts on government, like Muhammad ibn Sulaiman al-Wali in his Mu'ayin al-Talaba, concerning the science of grammar and linguistics, where the Africans themselves took extreme care in studying the Arabic language, studying it in detail, writing commentaries upon it as well. And there are many Arabic manuscripts throughout the African continent which reflects that history as well. In the Hausa land, of course, the transmission of learning and of Arabic texts into the region of the Hausa land, at first mentioned in the Kitabu Aslu Wangariyin. Again, where he says in this text also, نعم. وشاع في الناس إن رجل مشرقيا جاء بكتاب يقال له القليل قد عجب الناس فرعيه ومشهور كلامه حتى قال الشيخ غدا إن شاء الله سأركب إلى هذا الرجل ليسمع قراءة هذا الكتاب. He says a news spread among the people of a man from the east with a book that he called Al-Khalil. The people were amazed with his explanation and the popularity of his teachings until eventually the chief said, tomorrow, Allah willing, I will journey to this man and listen to his reading from that book and let you know how extensively the books of Khalil and the books of Arabic jurisprudence spread throughout the African continent in the lands of Hausa land. Again, we have like Sheikh Ahmed Baba mentioned some of the scholars of Songhai who journeyed to Hausa land and helped revive learning among its people. Among these was his grandfather Al-HAJJ Ahmed ibn Umar ibn Muhammad al-Aqid, about whom he said in Arabic in his text as well the following. It'll come up here. Now, كان محبا في النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم ملازما لقراءة قصائد مدحه وشفاء العياد على دوام فقيها لغويا نحويا عروضيا محصلا اعتناء بالعلم طول أمره وكتبه كتب عدة الكتب بخطه مع فوائد كثيرة وترك نحو 700 مجلدا. He said he was a love of the Prophet. May Allah bless him and grant him peace. Exemplified by his constant singing of praise songs for him and his unfailing reading of the Kitab or Shifa of Qadi Ayad. He was a jurist, a linguist, a grammarian, an expert in the science of prosody and very erudite. He was an assistant to the cause of learning and education throughout his entire life. He composed numerous books, writing them with his own hand that contain enough room for annotations. He is alleged to have left behind a library which contained over 700 volumes that he wrote by his own hand. Again, all throughout this, we're looking at the role that Islam has played in, here we're looking at other manuscripts as well. Sheikh Jibril ibn Umar, Muqtada Kunti, and his Ajub al-Muhimma. Books by Sheikh Abdullah dan Fodio, his D.L. Senate on the Senate. Again, by Uthman ibn Fodio on government, Bayan Wajub al-Hidra. Gidadu ibn Alayma, called Qisal Sheikh Uthman, dealing with ethics. Again, Muhammad Taqur in his Tanbil Khusamat, it deals with disputes and how to settle disputes among disputants. Nana Asma'u, an erudite woman who wrote a book called Tanbil Ghafilin on ethics as well and philosophy. Again, Uthman ibn Ishaq, who wrote a book on the science of prosody and also grammar. Again, there was Muhammad Bello in his book Nasiyatul Tanbiha, also on government as well. The book by Ali ibn Abdullah dan Fodio on Tawassul bi Suwar, on how to make tawassul or make intercession with the surahs of Quran. Again, there was a text by Abu Bakr Atiku, also called the Wathiq al-Hijra, encouraging the people to make the immigration from the lands on which the Christians themselves have taken over to make the side of the authority of the Christians. Again, there was Ibrahim ibn Abdullah, who wrote a book called Tanbil Ghafilin, also on ethics as well. Abdul Qadir ibn al-Mustafa in his Mawsufat al-Sudan on history and geography. Maryam, the daughter of Sheikh Uthman ibn Fudi, also writing on Wathiqat al-Hijra, a letter on making the immigration from under the Christians. Wazir Abdul Qadir Gidaru, he wrote a book called Mawahir Rabbaniya on spirituality and training the self, ethics as well. Again, there was also Ahmed al-Rufai ibn Shehu, also a governor, who wrote a book called Tanbil Ummah, also on government, the role of the Emir, the duty of the Emir, the responsibilities of the Emir, and the responsibilities of the subject and their duties to the Emir as well. Again, there was books also called Tarabiyat al-Qasida, Muhammad ibn Uthman on poetry. Again, Sayyid ibn Muhammad Bello on Markab al-Awam, dealing with worship as well, Ibadah. There was also Muhammad Jibril on Taqmisu Daliya, also on poetry as well. Umar ibn Muhammad al-Bukhari, Tufat al-Subyan, dealing with how to teach children. Abdul Rahman ibn Uthman ibn Abdul Qadir, a book called Nadham fi Tawheed on theology. Again, there was a text by Ali al-Qali Modi Abdu and his Risalat al-Nasiha that dealt with international relationships and the relationship between the Muslims and the disbelievers, meaning the European invaders. What is the relationship between them until the Day of Judgment? So we have books on almost every subject written by scholars, but it didn't stop there.